Everybody, we are here at the Keller Fire Station. September is Firefighter Appreciation Month, so we thought it would be a great idea to come out and meet some of these heroes who take care of our town. So we're going to go inside and meet with Corey, and he will be our tour guide. Let's go.
Hello, my name is Corey Shoemate. I'm a firefighter and field training paramedic for Keller Fire Rescue. We're going to take you guys on a little station tour here through Keller Fire Station 1. Alright, as we come in the front of the station here, down this hallway, we have a couple of offices here. On our left here is where our captain's office is. He's the one in charge of the crew here at this station. He is in charge of the scene. He rides in the front of the fire truck and makes sure that everyone's lined up with a role and everyone knows what they're supposed to do to keep some order in the chaos. Just to the right of that is our battalion chief's office. He's the chief in charge of operations on any major scene we have go on, where a little more coordination than one crew is necessary. So if we have 3-5 different firehouses, apparatus on scene, then he coordinates what their jobs are so that we don't have any duplication of efforts. Okay. Right here we have we call it a wall map. It's divided into small boxes, much like a maps go, if anyone remembers what those are. These numbers on here are called fire boxes. So when we get a call to a medical emergency or a structure fire or a car wreck, the dispatchers will tell us firebox 904. We can take a quick glance here and look at where 904 is, so that way we know from here about which direction we need to start heading, and we have a smaller version of this in the fire truck so we can get down to the fine detail of how to get to where we need to go in the most efficient manner. In here we have our laundry room. We have just kind of a standard, maybe a little bit bigger washing machine and dryer. This is so we can wash our clothes on duty here. That way if we have any germs or smoke or carcinogens from a structure fire or anything like that, we don't have to take it home to our families and wash them. So we pretty much wash all of our laundry in-house. This big one is called the extractor. This is what we use to wash our bunker gear after a fire. We use a special soap, a lot more of a rugged wash cycle to make sure it takes any of the cancer-causing smoke, chemicals, particulates out of our gear, so we don't have to worry about putting that stuff on later. So in here is what we call the day room. This is where we spend some time. If we have any downtime in the evening, we may hang out in here. Most of the time what this room is used for, especially now with all the coronavirus stuff going on, we have a TV here. We got enough room for all of us to sit here. So all of our continuing education classes have been able to go ahead and proceed somewhat like normal with all that going on through Zoom meetings or any other kind of video conferencing software that we may need to use to make sure that we can still stay up to date with our training and education required to keep our certifications. All right, here we are in our kitchen and dining room area. This is the dinner table where we like to claim 90% of the world's problems are solved. First thing we do in the morning when we get here, we throw our stuff on the truck, which we'll look at here in a little bit. We come in here and meet with the off-going crew. We're here from 7 a.m. till 7 a.m. the next morning. So when we show up to work, the off-going crew is usually sitting here at the table. We sit down with them and we get a morning briefing so that they can tell us what all has taken place the shift prior to, so we don't come across any surprises. All right, and then as we come this way, in the kitchen here, you can see some of the guys are prepping for our lunch and dinner, getting ready to make a grocery store run. When we go to the grocery store, we all chip in a little bit at a time to make sure that we can eat fairly well. You'll notice that there's a great big stove there. There's 3 refrigerators. We have 3 pantries over here, and then a 4th pantry here. The reason there's 3 of everything is since we're 1 day on, 2 days off, there's 3 different shifts. So there's A shift, B shift, and C shift fridge. So we are on C shift right now. That's why they're only going through our refrigerator.
Today we'll be having taco salad for lunch, and then tonight will be chicken stir fry. The healthy way.
So here we are in the workout room. This is where we have all of our exercise equipment to make sure we can maintain fitness to do the job we're called upon for. You can see we have treadmills as well as some free weights. Reason being, we have to be able to lift quite a bit and we need to be able to do it for a while. All right, we never know how long we're going to end up on an incident, how much work there's going to be to do, so we want to make sure that we're ready for whatever comes at us. And here we are in the watch room, our radio room. This is where our main radio is all set up for the station. Whenever somebody calls 911, it goes to our dispatch center. Then they call over the radio. It goes through here and goes over the speakers throughout the whole station. So we can respond to them from here, but typically we'll just go straight out to the truck or the ambulance and respond to them on the radio from there. Gets us out the door a little quicker. This is also where we get a lot of our studying, our CEs done, or continuing education, any kind of computer work we need to do, check our emails. Right now we have driver engineer Ponce over here doing some of his EMS equipment checkout for the trucks. While we have all the medical equipment on the ambulances, we also staff the fire trucks with paramedics and enough medical equipment to start the care process until an ambulance can arrive. Here we are at truck 581. It's the largest fire truck we have here in the city. It's a Smeel Spartan 100-foot aerial platform. What that means is it has a ladder mounted to the top of it with a bucket in the front that we can fit up to 4 people in, and it'll reach 100 foot in the air. Now, most people question why we have a 100-foot ladder when there are no 100-foot buildings in Keller. But half the purpose of having a 100-foot ladder is to reach 100 foot off the roadway. We do have several houses and buildings that are far off the roadway that we are unable to reach with a smaller, maybe 70-foot, 50-foot ladder. So here on truck 581 we have, it is 49 feet long. As you can see, the rear wheels are pretty far forward from the back of the truck, so whenever you turn, the back of the truck tends to swing out pretty wide. So because of that and many other reasons, it's about a 6-month to a year-long process to train one of our guys to drive this thing. It is not an easy task. Up here is where the captain sits. We talked about him earlier. Back here is where we can fit 2 firefighters in the rear and then the drivers on the other side. Typically it's going to be the same driver and captain every shift unless someone's on vacation or calls in sick. The firefighters in the back will typically rotate through with an ambulance. So up front here is where the captain sits. The driver's obviously on the other side. It's typically the same driver and captain every shift unless somebody takes vacation or calls in sick. In the back here we have room for 2 firefighters. Those guys will typically go through a rotation of riding backwards on the fire truck, as we call it, or riding on the ambulance, taking care of that job. So this large hose we have hanging down from the ceiling is called our climb event. It is a big vacuum essentially. It hooks direct up to our exhaust and it sucks all the exhaust and bad fumes from the fire truck out and sends it to the outside of the building so it doesn't build up in here. We'll go over some of the equipment we carry on the fire truck. In here we have the chainsaw and the K12. The chainsaw is typically used for roof operations or anytime we need to cut wood. It has special blades on it with hardened carbide tips that makes it where if we hit a nail or anything like that, it's not just going to break the chain on us. A little more rigid than your standard home use chainsaw. The K12 is what we use to cut just about anything that we couldn't cut with the chainsaw. It takes a little bit longer, doesn't go quite as deep, but concrete, metal, pretty much anything we need to get through that this won't accomplish, this will. Stepping back here, we have our high-rise packs as well as our high-rise kit. These are essentially some 2.5-inch hoses that are loaded up where we can carry several sections up at a time if we need to go up to the 3rd, 4th floor of a building, and then we can hook them in from up there. The fire truck can pressurize the system from the ground level, and then we make entry and do fire suppression. So this is the pump panel of truck 581. This is where the driver, when we show up on a fire, he's going to get out, he's going to set the truck in pump gear, and once that happens, he can't drive it. It shifts the engine from supplying the wheels with power to powering the pump itself. So once he does that, he's going to come over here. We carry 300 gallons of water on here, so he can open up to use our tank water. 300 gallons seems like a lot of water. However, these large hoses we have, we get 150 gallons a minute out of them. So once he opens up and we start flowing water out of here, he has 2 minutes to get hooked up to a hydrant, unless we're using more than one hose, in which case he only has about 1 minute. So once he gets us some water, then he's going to take a large hose like this, and he's going to hook it up right into this intake. Then he hooks it up to the fire hydrant. Once he charges that, we have pretty much an unlimited supply of water from that point forward. So the first 5 minutes of a fire is very chaotic for the driver engineer on scene, because he wants to make sure that we don't run out of fire or run out of water in a dangerous situation. Okay, here we are at what we call the extrication equipment. A lot of people are more commonly know it as the jaws of life. This is what we use on, say, a motor vehicle accident where somebody's car door gets crumpled up. They can't open it from the inside. We can't open it from the outside. So we have these tools that can get the job done. So we have here what are called the spreaders. They take a hydraulic line that goes to this generator so that we can open and close. It's basically just a big pair of pliers, and they're very heavy. On this side, we have the cutters, which is essentially a big pair of scissors that we can cut through maybe the door panels, maybe the pins holding the door closed, or if we even need to cut a steering wheel column off, it'll pretty much cut through just about anything on a car. They get heavier and heavier every couple years, it seems like, because the cars are being built stronger and stronger. They have a more secure metal cage around the patient compartment, which is good for the occupant, but it makes a very, very difficult task cutting them open sometimes. But we can typically turn most any car into a convertible in about 5 to 10 minutes with this equipment. Okay, here we are at our gear lockers. You can see we have helmet, coat. This is where we carry our SCBA mask, which is the mask we wear to breathe off the air tanks. Our pants preloaded into our bunker boots. You can see none of my stuff is here because I already have it on the truck. So we typically, first thing in the morning before we go to the dinner table to have our morning brief, we come out here and throw all of our gear next to the seat we're going to be riding for the day. That way, if the call drops first thing in the morning, we can go ahead and take it, and those off-going guys can go ahead and go home to their families. Okay. Here we are. I have my bunker gear laid out in front of me here. We typically keep it up on the truck here, but I'm going to go over some of it and kind of what the purpose of it is. So when we get the tones, when they first go off, if it's a medical call, we have 60 seconds to get out here and out the door. So on any kind of fire-related call, we get 80 seconds. So it gives us an additional 20 seconds to get geared up and out the door. Still not a lot of time, so we have to be pretty efficient in putting it on. I'm not going to go rushing through it, but I'll show you essentially the process. So we start with our bunker pants. Then, once we get our pants on, we put our Nomex hood on. This helps protect our ears and neck, just a fire-resistant cloth. We have our bunker coat. Now this is typically as far as we get when we respond from the bay, because we have our air packs mounted in the seats. So we can jump in there, slide our arms through the air packs, put a seatbelt on, and then we don't drive around with our helmet on because it's more of a hazard if there's an accident. So we leave the helmet sitting next to us, and then it gives us a chance on the way there. We can go ahead and take our air mask and have it on. So, and we're pretty well all set once we get there. And then, this is our air pack, or SCBA, which stands for self-contained breathing apparatus. Really just kind of looks like a scuba tank, but there's a lot of high-tech stuff in them these days. So, I'm going to put that on, swing it around. Now we're all set now. So the reason we carry this with us is not so much to protect us from the heat as much as the smoke. Especially in today's modern homes and modern furniture fires. They burn about 2 times as hot as they did when it was typically wood, cotton, traditional materials. When they use polyurethane, polyethylene, all the plastics, it just burns nasty, thick black smoke with really high heat. And just about everything that burns has some sort of cancer-causing chemical in it now. So whenever we get ready to go in, there we go. A little harder to hear now.
Hello?
Alright.
Well, I'm not going to be here today, so I'll go
There, it might be a little easier to hear now. We have a microphone that Bluetooths from our mouthpiece. That way we can understand each other over the radio. Our goal is to have every bit of skin covered from head to toe, so we have no exposure to the heat or toxic gases.
Here's another piece of equipment we carry on the truck. It's called the thermal imaging camera. We call it the TIC for short. Essentially what this does is it reads for infrared and sends us back an image that we can see in the form of heat on the screen here. So it kind of looks like night vision, essentially, but you're really just looking for heat. So it does have its limitations. It can't just see through walls of any kind. If you look at anything with a mirror image, you're just going to get a reflection of whatever is bouncing off from the other direction. However, if we have fire that's maybe hidden behind sheetrock, we can see it's hotter here, cooler. Okay, we need to go through this sheetrock and see if there's any fire. Or if we have an electrical burning smell, we can walk around and look at all the plug outlets, all the lights, and see if one is hotter than the rest. So it makes our job a lot easier, and in really, really thick, smoky conditions, makes our job a lot safer.
Okay, so we're going to take this opportunity to ask Corey a couple of questions. And if you don't mind, I think we're going to take our masks off. Yeah.
For the sake of hearing better.
Yeah, so we can hear what you're saying better.
As long as we remain socially distant.
Which we are. And they do wear masks here every day, just like we do at home or we do at the library. So, Corey, I was just curious, when you are in that full fire suit, how much does that weigh?
Somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 70 pounds dry.
Gosh. And it doesn't stay dry for very long, I'm guessing.
No, we sweat. We sweat, and we're messing around with a lot of water.
Absolutely. Ugh, it's too much. I also wanted to ask you, do you have any fire safety tips for kids?
Yeah, a really good one for kids and parents to get together on is what we call Edith drills, or emergency drills in the home. And essentially that is a breakdown and having a plan in place for what to do if there is a fire. All right, a lot of the factors of that is, if there's smoke in the room, you want to stay low because the good air is down by the floor. The hot, smoky air rises to the top. Before you open any door, you want to feel the door to make sure it's not hot on the other side. If kids are old enough, and if possible, maybe go over how to get out the window. And most importantly, once everyone's out of the house, have a meeting place outside established. It may be the mailbox, it may be the big tree in the front yard, it might be the next door neighbor's tree. But the good thing about that is if everyone gets to the meeting place, then when we show up, you can say, hey, this is everyone, everyone's here. If there's one person missing, hey, we're missing this person, and that's their room. So we know exactly where we need to go look first. It's not just people running around everywhere.
Interesting. That's a great idea to plan ahead. What made you want to be a firefighter?
Kind of got the seed planted when I was playing football in high school. I shattered my femur, and Northwoods Hills Fire Department, a couple of their medics came and kind of patched me up enough. They ended up calling a helicopter, and I flew down to Cook's downtown. But just how cool, calm, collect everyone was, that kind of planted the seed for me. Mm-hmm. And I really, really, really love the idea of not doing the same thing every day. And we never know what we're going to be doing 5 minutes from now. We may still be sitting here talking. We may be on our way to a rip-roaring fire.
Yeah, let's hope not. So as we mentioned, September is Firefighter Appreciation Month, and I know that we are all so grateful for what you do for our community. Is there a way that the Keller community can support the firefighters?
The best thing that they can do to support us is stay safe, maintain the social distancing right now, maintain the mask awareness when you're in public. The safer you are, the safer pretty much everyone in the community is right now.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Well, we are really grateful for your time. Thank you so much for being here with us. And
absolutely.
You guys remember to stay safe.